Hi and welcome. My name is Luz, also known as your agent Luz, and welcome to my channel, Living in Richmond, Virginia. I am glad that you are here once again. And if you want to know everything there is to know about living in Richmond, Virginia, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and that notification bell so that you are notified every single time a new video comes out about living in Richmond, Virginia. So today we are going to talk about reasons why and why not to buy a home. Is it a good idea or is it a good time to buy a house in 2023? Well, let's talk about it and let's see if it is a good idea for you to purchase a home at this time. So, should I buy a house or is it a good time to buy a house? Is probably the number one question I am willing to bet on that every realtor, once somebody knows that they're a realtor, they ask. And if you're a realtor watching this, I'm sure you have gotten this question multiple times, especially in the past maybe 6 months to a year, or even in the past week. As we continue to see changes in the market, people, automatically get scared. And that's the first thing they think, well, is it a good time? And they base their decisions based on what they see in the market. Every Thursday in Ultra Radio 94.1, and it's actually a Spanish station, I have a show that I do, and this question always comes up, right? And I always joke around and say, well, it's always a good time to buy a house, particularly talking about we should not base our decision on what's going on necessarily in the market, even though the market will go up and go down. And of course, that does dictate some of the financial, commitments that you will have to take in regards to buying a home. However, there are a lot more reasons why you should and why you should not be considering, maybe not a good time for you to buy a home. So let's talk about those reasons. So reason number one, you have gotten married. Congratulations. You have started new life with a new person. And is it a good time to buy a house? Well, of course, all of it depends, right? You may have a home, your now spouse has a home, and obviously you had to start a home. So the homes that you had probably is not going to fit the families that you were thinking, right? So either one of you is planning on, selling, and you may even have done this while you were thinking about, while you were getting, your wedding prepared, already getting things ready for the house. And, you're probably thinking about maybe moving into one, or maybe going ahead and just selling the ones you do have and purchasing a good one, a new one, right? Hopefully a good one, but purchasing a new home. Is it a good time? Is it a good idea, to buy a new home? So if you're selling your homes, to buy a new one and build this home, it could be a good idea. So a general rule of thumb, when thinking about buying a home is, if you're thinking about staying in the home for less than 3 years, well, you may want to just kind of wait. However, when I hear, we're planning to stay longer than 5 years, then that is definitely a good time. It's definitely a good opportunity to, to go ahead and start the process of buying your home and kind of getting situated and, getting those homes. And like I said, you may have plans to start a family if you already don't, have a blended family. And you may need that big space. So of course, that can be a good reason why buying a home or considering a home purchase is, a good idea. Let's talk about, you got a promotion and, wow, I've been waiting for this promotion. Now I'm going to make all this money. Is it a good idea to now get into buying your home? And, again, that may be a good idea. And we have to, kind of go back and look at the finances and see, well, what does your home have already? If you already have a home, do you have to sell your home? If of course we don't, like I said, we don't have a crystal ball to kind of like know everything. But typically, if in fact you have a new promotion and there's more income coming in, keeping in mind that we're looking, and you still have to look at the big picture. Even though you're having more income, what does your debt look like, right? What does your credit look like? Is it a good idea to purchase a home right now? And that may be one of those times where, yeah, we may consider going through the process. Again, taking in consideration, looking at the big picture. Sometimes it's not necessarily a good idea. It's better just to kind of wait. But, now that you have this extra income coming in and you were waiting all this time, you have the history in, work history, and you have been waiting all this time to try to get that promotion, try to get that extra income so that you can buy that first home. I love working with first-time home buyers. It's I just had a meeting with one today, and it definitely fills my heart to be the one person to kind of guide one to home ownership, and be that you never forget your first time when your first time buying a house. And I always like to be that good memory, being part of that somebody's such big purchase when it comes to buying a home. So you're thinking about getting that home because you definitely worked so hard for that promotion. It may be a good idea for to start that process. Now, of course, as a realtor, I get, the questions about, you look down the street, or, somebody, I'm sure you know somebody, or know somebody who flipped the house, right? Took a house, just put a couple dollars, fixed it up, and went ahead and sold it. Is it a good time to purchase a home? Well, you may say to me, I have this extra money and I could use that money to go ahead and, just go ahead and buy a house, flip it and sell it and make money out of it. And, a kind of rule of investment is, when you invest the extra you have. So if you want to make sure that this may not necessarily be the greatest time for you to buy a house if this is your motivation, right? So going back to kind of like the number one thing I really should have talked about was motivation, right? What is your motivation when it comes to buying a house? Are you trying to live there for a while and then let it appreciate so that you can then maybe sell it or move, or do you want to start a family? Those things are the things really why you would want to buy a home. If you're buying a home to try to flip it and to make money, and that money is money that you need to go buy food, that you need to feed your family, it may not be a good idea just because you saw, so-and-so, you saw John and Stacy do it. It may not necessarily be the good idea for you to do it. So look, using the home as an investment without doing all the homework because you saw a show that you could do it with no money down. It's not as easy as it looks. And there's a lot of risk that come with that as well. With investing, and that's a conversation that we would have to have about, again, what are you willing to risk, because it may work and it may not. So you don't want to put all your eggs in that basket, thinking that you're going to make a profit, and you don't know the future. So you don't know if you are, it takes a lot of diligence to make sure. So is it a good time, especially now, to buy and flip? And that really just depends on what you're looking at. Some people will tell you it's better to just buy and rent. And so that leads me to the next one. Is it a good time to buy a house if you're buying it or renting it? That may be a better idea. However, again, you are looking at what the extra that you do have to bring that extra income. Can you afford if the tenant decides not to pay the rent? Would you be able to afford paying that rent? That actually happened to me, so I know this. Would you be able to afford paying that rent until you get another tenant? So when it comes to investment, using homes, real estate for investment properties, it's a great idea. Real estate is a great way to make some extra income. However, it's not necessarily that, the one thing to jump into without doing your due diligence, without having the conversation, without making sure that all your stuff is in order and that you will not lose if once you're taking that risk. Because once again, when you're renting a property, and like I said, that's nice income that comes in monthly, you want to make sure that if something happens, you have the finances to cover the maintenance. You have the finances to cover that mortgage, should your tenant not decide to pay 1 month or something happens, that those things are covered, and that you can get somebody else in there. So using real estate for investment definitely may be a good, but maybe not a good idea. You have to kind of do your due diligence when it comes to that, to buying a home in that aspect. Again, purchasing a home is a really big investment. It's one of life choices that you will never forget, obviously, and you definitely have to have the right motivation when it comes to buying a home. So those are that is a little bit about kind of like when to buy a home, is it a good time to buy a home, in 2023, not looking necessarily at all these interest rates and going, are they going to come up? Are they going to go down? Well, we don't know, really. I mean, there's predictions. However, the reality is that we don't know. So the best thing we could do is be prepared. And if you're thinking about buying a home or making a purchase, I would love to help you with that process. My information is down below, and you can reach me if you have any questions, or if there's anything else that you would like to learn about living in Richmond, Virginia, or the market that we are in. I would love to help in that as well. And so just let me know. I may just make a video just for you. So thank you for watching once again, and I will see you next time. Don't forget, if this is your first time watching, and you would like to know everything that there is to know about living in Richmond, Virginia, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the notification and like, so that you'll be notified every single time there's a video that comes out about living in Richmond, Virginia. Thank you so much for watching. Talk to you later. Bye.